Hey, what's up? How you guys doing? We back. Now, as you may know, Lane Kiffin has officially taken the job for LSU down in Baton Rouge. Louisiana State University. He's officially taking the job. I don't think this is going to work out too well because, a lot of people say you don't mess with happy, you don't mess with good. Good going. Good thing going. That's great. You got Ole Miss. You've been there about 6 years. You can pretty much do what you want. You've been winning 10 games a year. I think your third season was like 8-5. That's probably the worst season you had. That one of the worst seasons you had since then. But LSU is firing coaches in their third season for losing 4 or 5 games. Do you have enough time to turn everything around? It's just, you can if you go 8-5 next year, you got to rebuild. Ole Miss is not going to trip. You got everything. Baton Rouge might be a little better town. I don't know. Who knows? But, what more can you want? Now, LSU, you win a national championship today. They love you. You got to rebuild and go 8-5 the next 2 years. They're firing you. That's not going to happen. Ole Miss. Ole Miss, you could have had, lack of a better word, a Joe Paterno situation. You could have been there for 40, 50 years. Your sons could have inherited. But have you ever heard of some stuff you be like, that don't even sound right? Like, check this out. They're saying Lane Kiffin accept the job, and he's told his staff, you have to come with me. Like, you're gonna abandon? You tell your people to abandon the team that you put together because you can't leave them in the playoffs to walk out on the kids and just completely destroy the program? That'll be mind-boggling. But let's take a look at it. I don't know if I can believe it because that's just too much. But let's just see.
Well, we were starting.
So let me.
Everyone needs. Folks, this is insanity. What this?
So in true lane, that lane.
Yeah. Where the sound? That ain't the sound. Well, that ain't the sound.
With Lane Kiffin taking the LSU job, he's also lined up most of his offensive staff, and he told them if they're not on the plane to Baton Rouge today with him, they don't have a spot on his future staff. This is some villain type stuff, bro. First off, you're already burning the bridge with Ole Miss. You bring them to a playoff berth more than likely. They're not going to let you coach now because you're dipping out and going to another SEC program, which I don't blame him for going to LSU, bigger brand, going to get more NIL money than he'll get at Ole Miss, have a chance to build a title contender that maybe he didn't have the chance to at Ole Miss. But now threatening to take every bit of your staff and leave Ole Miss empty, is there ever a time Lane Kiffin hasn't left a place and burnt a bridge? And the funniest part to me is that he's still insistent on coaching Ole Miss for the playoffs. And I don't blame Ole Miss for not letting him do it, especially if this is the way you're going to act. With Lane Kiffin taking the LSU.
That's insane. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with black coach, but a black coach could never never get on that level. You know what I'm saying? That's you telling your staff, like, man, hey, if I can't coach, get on this plane right now, or you're not coming with me. And they said, Chip Kelly, Chip Reese, somebody, his brother, somebody was on the plane with him.
Well, we were starting to get news about.
If you
See, I fuck with Lane Kiffin already. Lane Kiffin.
So let me get
Somebody on the plane.
The decision has been made, and Lane Kiffin is officially headed to Louisiana State University, according to On3. An almost comparable drama to LeBron in 20.
Which is weird, because and then you go to Louisiana State, they just fired a coach who had a $53 million payout. It didn't want to pay him. It didn't want to pay him. What is going on? Where they born? Huh? That's not gonna end. There you go.
Crazy.
Man,
The craziest thing about
man.
SEC Ole Miss fan. SEC football is the greatest reality show on earth, and
Okay.
these videos of Lane.
So, bam. Here's one I saw. Let's check it out. It talks about what he was saying, who was on the plane with him, and stuff like that.
Kiffin's send-off at the Ole Miss airport are the latest example of why. Not only did Ole Miss students show up at the airport to boo him through the airport barbed wire fence, but the administration put his clothes out in the street. Just listen to these boos as he boards the plane for Baton Rouge. And the drama gets better because he told his existing Ole Miss staff members, if you're not on the plane to Baton Rouge with me, you won't have a spot on the staff. So not only was offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. also seen boarding the plane, but Lane's ex-wife as well. This is perfect. And oh yeah, his official statement on Twitter that he's leaving has 15 million views in the first 3 hours. To make the reality show even sweeter, look at Lane's first season in LSU, where he has to go. Oh, he has to visit Ole Miss on the road. Also visits Tennessee, who he left in this fashion like years ago. So his two biggest enemies, he has to visit there. If you think a small crowd at the airport has some loud boos for their former coach, just wait until he walks into that stadium with his new football team. Lane Kiffin's send-off day from Ole Miss to LSU will have to be remembered as a chapter in the book of why the SEC is the greatest show on earth. SEC football is the greatest.
And then they got that reporter Facebook, called him hoe or whatever, can't turn hoe to a housewife. You know they're gonna be playing that ludicrous song. Use a hoe. I said it, use a hoe. Yeah, use a hoe. Yeah, use a hoe. Use a hoe. I said it, use a hoe. You're doing whole activities with whole tendencies. Hoes are your friends. Hoes are your enemies. They might not even know that song. That'd be crazy if they did that though.
Ole Miss fans.
I like this guy. We'll listen to this guy real quick and just want to do a little quick thing about like, yo, you could never see it. Like how do you keep going after somebody who does everybody wrong? That's crazy. That's crazy. But when you desperate, you can like that's the whole person can lead LSU. When you desperate, that think about it. And another reason it's a bad job. There is one national champion a year. There's one national champion a year. One. But all these teams think that they're blue bloods. USC, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Florida State, Miami, Texas, Oklahoma. I don't know who else. LSU. That's 10 schools that's going to fire a coach in the next 2 to 3 years if they don't win the national championship. But only one can win. And somebody might go back to back, but 10, like all these schools are going to fire a coach if they don't win the national championship. That's off the rip. 10 teams are firing a school if they don't win the national championship. And only one person wins a year. That's another reason. Ole Miss was sweet. It was sweet.
Students spending their Sunday by going to the airport, waiting for Lane Kiffin to show up, and then booing him, heckling him and his child because Lane Kiffin is not a housewife and going to LSU is just, I mean, it's peak SEC football. It just means more. We've seen the arrival before. We've seen fans waiting at the airport for the arrival of a new coach. Actually, when Lane Kiffin came to Ole Miss, someone met him and handed him a phone and said, "This is your burner phone. You're going to need it." But to show up as Lane Kiffin is boarding the plane to give him a middle finger, one F you, one last time, poetic. Ole Miss will play LSU next year at Ole Miss on October 5th. That's going to be absolutely insane. And look at this photo from a national reporter, John Talty from CBS Sports. Look, someone brought their baby. They brought their baby to boo Lane Kiffin. While this was all going on, Ole Miss took all of Lane Kiffin's clothes and just threw him on the street. Like you can't turn him into a housewife. You cannot turn a Lane Kiffin type into a housewife. Ole Miss fan / student.
All right, well, that's it. Just want to chop it up for a second. Just play around with it. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.